Hello, it's me, and today I'll be doing a review on the SH Monsterarts Godzilla Ultima. And I have been looking forward to this figure for over 9 months. I ordered it back at the end of summer 2021, and it's here, and it is absolutely beautiful, except for the head, which the paint is terrible, but the rest of it is brilliant. But before I get into the figure, I'll go over the box, which the box is so big that I have to use my wide-angled camera piece so that if I take it off, it's really zoomed in. So I have to put this on so you can actually see the whole thing. It might be a bit distorted around the edges, but yeah. On the front, a brilliant picture of Godzilla Ultima with all the little equations that I can't remember the name of the girl in the anime stuff that she wrote down. SH Monsterarts Godzilla Ultima, Tamashii Nations Bandai, Tamashii Nations Quality Godzilla, a very T-Rexy looking Godzilla, and a little golden Godzilla 1962. On the top, SH Monsterarts Godzilla Ultima with some really nice red smoke effects. On this side, SH Monsterarts Godzilla Ultima. On this side, SH Monsterarts Godzilla Ultima with another picture of Ultima. And when they take these promotional pictures, they make one figure and they spend lots of time on it. Even that one looks bad. Just look at the eyes on that; they're terrible. And then on the back, some more promotional pictures with the two Jet Jaguars. I can't remember which one's A and which one's B. Some really nice promotional pictures with Godzilla's stupidly long tail. A nice silhouette of Godzilla Ultima with Godzilla Singular Point. Some Japanese stuff that I can't read. And some legal stuff on the bottom with another picture of Godzilla Ultima. But this box is absolutely massive. I'm amazed that even my wide-angle camera managed to fit it in. But now that I've gone over the box, time for Godzilla Ultima. And I can take this off now. But this is just... The sculpt is incredible. The sculpt and detail is amazing. The articulation's amazing. But then the head... The sculpt is... The sculpt on the head is okay. I wouldn't say it's as good as like their... It's better than I'd say the 2014, but that's because that was based off of a concept art-ish version thing, which is what happened with this. That's why this guy doesn't have his stupidly wide cheeks, because this is... I don't really know, because I searched up concept art for Godzilla Ultima, and there just wasn't any. There's no concept art for this guy whatsoever. So I'm slightly... I know it is based off something like that, which is why it has the small bottom jaw, but it's just a bit of a weird choice. I would have liked it if they actually just went with the proper, like what it actually looked like in the anime. But all the proportions are very nice. First I will go over the head with my zoomed in close-up camera, if it'll focus, but you can see just how terrible his eyes are. They're meant to be white, a white iris with the outside part of the eye, a yellow dot, and then a black dot for the pupil. Instead, they did yellow with a huge gold dot. This side looks worse. That looks like an egg. It's like a cracked egg. Just... Monsterarts has been making Godzilla figures for how long? Like, way over, like, 11 years? I don't know. But they still haven't got the eyes correct. Their eyes still aren't good at all. But you can see they've got lots of detail on the head, which looks really nice. Again, teeth painted terribly. These ones aren't fully painted, his massive fangs. This has some yellow on, which looks weird, like big plaque build-up. But all the top teeth Like, they're just terrible. And if you look on the inside, these are absolutely amazing. They're individually painted. Even the small ones on the side look really nice. And then, what is that? That is just horrible. They're not fully painted. They've got yellow on. It's just, what were they thinking? And I think I might repaint the teeth. I've never repainted a Monsterarts, not even the 60 quid ones. But I think I sort of have to with this guy. He's just terrible. And maybe the eyes as well, but definitely the teeth. But aside from the shocking, terrible paint, it's got incredible detail with all the little lines where the teeth fit in. But it's also got some detail on the roof of the mouth. If I can get the camera to focus, there's a little line up on the top which looks quite nice. A huge ugly seam, which is a bit unfortunate. Then the neck, it's got a sort of Shin Godzilla-esque thing, which has some paint scraping. But it is like the same ghillie type thing as Shin Godzilla. But then, now that I've done the hair, I'll take that off. But the dorsal plates, I really love the way the dorsal plates are done. It's quite, it sort of reminds me of the sort of pine tree style that the 2017 Godzilla Earth looked like, because it's the same sort of like tree shape. Because like you look at 2021 and he's got like 1954 normal dorsal plates, and this guy's, it's a really lovely new adaptation, sort of different take to the other Godzillas with all the red sort of veins, which I really like. And the dorsal plates, actually, they do have a slight resemblance of the original. Like, if you look, that's still got that huge bit there with the two on the top. Then lots going down there. Still got the same. So I think they slightly used it. You could see that is around about the same shape, which I haven't actually noticed before. That's quite nice. But then, what I love is how many dorsal plates there are. They're not incredibly painted, but do you think individually painted all of these dorsal plates, each little vein, it's incredible the amount of time. I don't know if it's painted by hand or a machine, but like if it's by machine, that's pretty blooming good, because like usually it's really sloppy, like the eye. But if you look on the back, there's like 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, there's 5 rows. It's got the huge ones down the middle. And that's what I really like about this one, is because, so like that looks natural with all the different sort of random ones. And that's just too plain. They're just 1, 2, 3, and they're identical on either sides. And then this one just looks brilliant. And then it's got its tiny little, almost like bigger Shin Godzilla arms. They're the same sort of shape. They're still really small compared to like some of the others, but it actually works quite nicely. There, it's got his huge thighs, which I made 2 videos, which I talk about that with the memes. And then going down, it's got really big shins. I don't know why this guy isn't called Shin Godzilla, because he's got skinny shins. This guy's really, this is probably one of the most muscly Godzillas I've ever seen. Because like, look, he's got like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a 7-pack, which I didn't know that was possible on a Godzilla. Like this guy's got like a sort of 8-pack, but like, geez. Then he's got these little spikes running down his chest, which are really nice. This bit actually moves, which I found out, which is like, I think that's for when you move it. So like you open it max, you bend him, and then you push it back in, so it sort of lines up, which is quite a nice sort of, don't know if you call it a gimmick, but it's quite nice. The toes, I absolutely love the way these are painted. Like just the solid sort of white, yellowy white is just absolutely incredible. Mine have started to scrape a tiny bit on the ends, but not too terribly. It's only like the middle ones and a slight bit on that one. But then also the back spikes, the spikes on the back of his legs are painted really nicely. And yeah, he's got really muscly calves as well, which sort of like join into the spike. And then now onto his stupidly long 17-inch long tail, which is just massive. Like, that's the type of Godzilla. That's like a nice sized tail. That's too small. Like, that's just like, that's not even half the size of that one. Like, that's like a good sized Godzilla tail. But then something that I like about this is the way that it's got the plating. That it's got this little bit inside and then the sort of V shape, which looks really nice. Then it's got 3 rows of dorsal plates on each of the spines. Then they sort of turn into just sort of spikes when you go up to the top of the tail. These ones aren't painted as good as the big ones, but like I said, individually painting one of these, like, I don't know, like, that would take a long time. Still don't know if it's machine or person, but either way, it's impressive. These ones aren't painted, which I don't really mind. But it's got something that does annoy me is these ones don't have the red on, but then it's got this horrible sort of like, if I can get it to focus, it's got this massive overspray here on the tips of the spikes, which just sort of separates it from the rest of the tail, and it doesn't give it the nice blend. Like, you can see it really sticks out, which really doesn't look very nice. Like, the rest of it's got the nice blend between the skin, then there's just this big line across the end. But it is, the sculpt and detail on this is incredible. And just, I don't think they could have done better. Besides the head, if they made that more accurate to the anime, it would have been better. Like, if it given the big bulky jaw, that would have made it so much better. Because he's got quite a sort of a long head, which looks a bit weird. I don't mind it too much. You look at it and you're like, oh yeah, that's Ultima, like with the 2014. It's just got a slightly different head. But now that I've gone over most of the detail, I'll go on to the articulation, which is absolutely incredible on this figure. So the jaw, there's a hinge on the top and a hinge on the bottom, so it can open about that wide. Don't open it too much, because what happened with mine is his little sort of membrane there popped out and went over the edge, and it was a bit annoying to get back in. But this guy actually has, that's his good side, because you see his bottom tooth sticks up there, and then there isn't one there. But, well, it's inside, but you can see it doesn't line up. Like, that one stays outside, that one doesn't, and you can't move it, because these aren't on ball joints. They're just on 2 little pegs, so there's nothing you can do about it unless you took the jaw off and put your own joint in, which I'm not going to do, because I don't want to ruin a figure. I am going to be painting the teeth though. Then the neck has a joint there, and one there and one there, so you can look down about that far and up about that far. And he's also got some detail underneath his jaw, which looks quite nice. You can look, his head does come off, but you need it to come off to put the alternate head on, which I'll talk about after the articulation. But it does fall off. If you move it too much, it can fall off quite easily, like just then. But it can go side to side very nicely. The shoulders, there's a joint up there on the top. So these, they can't go all the way around, but they can go up about that far, and back about that far. There's also a joint in there, which is another little ball joint. So they can go out about that far and in about that far. There's a double jointed elbow, so it can go almost completely straight and then bend to about that far, doesn't go much further. Wrists is a double ball joint, so it can go up about that far and down about that far. Then it's got another double joint, one up there and one down there, so you can bend really, really far, so you can properly look down at the floor, and they can go up all together about that far. So I guess you could get him into like a swimming pose. And then this is probably one of the most impressive parts of this figure, besides the tail, is the amount the hips can move. So you can go out about that far into a complete split, which is absolutely incredible, and I didn't think it'd be able to do this. And then in about that far, they can go forwards and backwards. I think they can go all the way around, but I don't want to do that because I think the legs might fall off. Then double jointed knees, so they can go back about that far and forwards very far. Then there's a joint there and a joint there, so it can go back about that far and flat. It doesn't really go much further forwards. This joint's a bit stiff for mine, so it doesn't really move that much, and that's the same on both sides. But the ankles have a really nice range of movement, so you can get him to go proper like wide apart, which I don't know why you need to do that, but it's impressive. Like, the amount of articulation on this figure is amazing. And now the best bit of this figure, the tail. So I'm not going to do too much for this one just because that would take too long, but all I'm going to show you is that. Like, come on, that's incredible. You can make him do like the classic Anguirus roll, which I might do in a video as like a little bit. But it is just absolutely incredible, the amount of joints in this tail. I can't be bothered to count them, but it is absolutely amazing. And they can go completely flat, which is just incredible. But that's about it for the articulation, but I was absolutely blown away by the amount that this figure can move. It is just incredible. And now that I've gone over the articulation in detail, I'll go on to the accessories. And I'll start with the head because it's already fallen off, and I'll show you it. But basically what you want to do, you want to get it at the base of the head and just go pop it off quite easily. This has a separate bit. Don't take this off and then put this one on. You need to keep that on, and then you just go pop, and that goes on. And this is this one's painted slightly better than the other one because you can see the teeth are actually painted individually instead of just a horrible solid block. It's still bad. I'm still going to repaint it, but it's not as bad as this one. But inside the mouth, you can see it's got these three holes, which I'm guessing, like, one's for eating, one's for the beam, and one's for the rings. I don't know. I don't know how Ultima's anatomy or anything works, but he doesn't have a tongue. He's got this sort of strip there, which might be a tongue. I don't really know, because it's got the same thing with the Bandai Terrestrius. Has the same-ish type thing, more lumpy. But the eyes on this one, again, are just as terrible as the other one. That one's even more squished. It looks even more like an egg, which is just terrible. But, I mean, you're not going to see it too much unless you look really close up. Like, if you're making it bat or something, you're not really going to be looking at the eye too much. But it's quite incredible the amount that the jaw can open in the anime. Like, I thought Shin Godzilla's mouth could open the most because it had the split jaw as well. But that's just incredible. Like, he could easily just bite off another Godzilla's head if he wanted to. It's incredible. But now that I've gone over the articulation, detail, I haven't finished the accessories actually. I almost forgot about these little guys, which are Jet Jaguar A and B. Still don't know which one's which, so I'll go over the smaller one first. Oops, which I just dropped on the floor. But this, I guess I can use the close-up camera for this one. Yeah, you can see the detail on this. It's very simple. These guys weren't needed, but it's just nice to have. And they don't seem in scale, I don't know, but I guess it's an anime, so Ultima's never actually the right scale. But it's got really nice detail. It's got his little backpack, his little, you can see the joints in his arms, nicely sculpted head, and it's got the little thing on his foot which holds him up. But these are very nice. No articulation at all, but you don't really need it. And also Bandai's just announced their Jet Jaguar, the taller one, which I think I'm going to get instead of the Monsterarts version. But I do like the little one. It's quite a cute one. And then here's the taller one. Still don't know the names. Which he's got a very weird neck. It's more hunched over than the other one. Then it's got his massive Anguilla spear, which is detailed very, very nicely. The bottom of the feet are fairly messy. There's not really much on there. It's got his little symbol there. It's got a big seam line, but I guess that would be quite hard to clear up. It's got the little springs on the back of his feet, which are very nicely sculpted. This is a bit bendy, so I'd be careful when doing anything with this one. But yeah, these are nice. I think a beam would have been better than 2 Jet Jaguars, which weren't really needed. They could have included them with the Monsterarts Jet Jaguar instead of these little guys with Ultima. But they do stand up quite nicely, as you can see. People are like, oh my god, the bases don't work, they're terrible, they're terrible. They're amazing. I don't know what people are on about. They're brilliant. They stand up incredibly well. Like, even if he falls over, he's better. Good, but it's because this guy is taller that he falls over easier. But yeah, they're nice. They weren't needed, but they're nice to have. Something I think might slightly be in scale with Ultima, but either way, they're nicely sculpted and they're okay. But now that I've gone over the detail, the paint, the articulation and the accessories, now it's time for the size comparison. So get Ultima back. Here he is next to my custom bootleg Monsterarts Godzilla 2021, who these guys aren't his scale. He's only, I think, 100. He's occasionally 40, apparently, I've heard. He's only 40 meters sometimes, but sometimes he's 100. He's 120, so the size should sort of be swapped around. But I quite like this guy being slightly smaller. And then here he is next to my Monsterarts Godzilla 2001, which I think they took some inspiration from this one, because he's also got the big fang like Ultima. And here he is next to the NECA, my custom NECA Shin Godzilla, who's still, he's got a smaller mouth, but these scale okay. I'm going to do an actual battle, not like my last video, which was like a meme one. I am eventually going to do a good battle. Here he is next to the NECA Godzilla 1954, which he's much bigger than, well, these aren't his scale. He's meant to be 50, 60 meters. He's 100, so he should really be half the size. But they're toys. They're not going to be in scale, because also I wouldn't like this guy to be half the size. That wouldn't be very fun to play with. Here he is next to my, in the middle of being customized, Bandai Movie Monster Series Godzilla Terrestrius, who I'm going to do and I am going to do an animation between these two. Not fighting, but maybe like a Father's Day animation or something. I don't really know. But they're not in scale, but they look nice together. And finally, here's Ultima next to something that I've not shown anything about on YouTube, which is my custom mini Godzilla Singular Point Rodan, which I am going to do a video on. I need to fix the joint in his head because it's a bit floppy, but I made that out of a Lego Pteranodon. And they're not a scale, but I might do a battle between these two, like him flying around and pecking him and biting him. But I am going to do a showcase on this guy one day soon. But that's about it for this review. I absolutely love this figure. Anyone who's wanted to get him has probably got him. I just did this to give my opinions, and I think it's great except for the head. But that's about it for this review. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.